This is just another thought, another word regarding what's happening in Asbury. I won't explain that here. I did it in another video just a moment ago. But I wanted just to comment on the fact that this is not happening in the church. 90% of the church around the world is an empty shell. It is much more interested in accolades and the approval of culture than it is interested in the fear of the Lord and the approval of God. And so the church, for the most part, has been a failure. I'm not just talking about North America, I'm talking about around the world. We've got churches in almost every corner in the United States, but it hasn't made a difference, very little difference, regarding the depredations of culture and the onslaughts of the enemy. And so this movement is happening outside the church. It's happening outside traditional leadership. It's happening in the hearts of young people. And it reminds me of David in facing Goliath. David is a shepherd boy. He is part of the covenant community, but he's not part of the institution. He's not part of the army, the institution of the army of Israel. And the army of Israel is being besieged by the Philistines and by Goliath at its head, who for 40 days has stomped around mocking God, mocking the armies of Israel, taunting and boasting. And the armies of Israel have no answer for it. David brings up lunch for his brothers in the army and hears this Goliath, this boasting, and says, "Oh, who is this guy to taunt the living God? No, I don't accept this." And so he decrees and he declares and he tells Saul, the king, I'll fight this guy. And Saul reluctantly agrees and says, "Here, look, put on armor, arm yourself in a traditional way." And David tries it, but then says, "No, this is not the way forward. I know how to do this, and it's not the traditional way." And so this young boy, the youngest of the youngest, coming from the fields outside of the army with a sling and a stone, rushes towards Goliath, kills him, takes his own sword, and chops off his head. And that is what is happening, and I think what will happen in increasing measure amongst the young people of today. They're going to be outside the traditional structures of the church. They're going to be saying no to the things that the church doesn't know how to deal with. And they are, in their own wild and reckless ways, they're going to bring down these mocking, boastful enemies and rout the armies of darkness. It won't be the church. It will be these young people energized by the Holy Spirit who say no. And a word to the parents of these young people. Had David's father been there, he probably would have held him tight and said, "No way, this is reckless, this is crazy, this is not the way it's done. You're endangering your life. You know, your safety is my primary concern." Mothers and fathers, release your young people. Let them go. It may be wild, it may be unruly, it may be outside of our tradition, it might be something we've never seen before, but let them go, because they are the army of God that is being raised up. In Ezekiel 37, when dry bones come together, when a resurrected army comes together, it's an exceeding great army of those who have been raised from the dead and filled with the Holy Spirit. Not people who've been sitting in the church all their lives, but young people encountering the Holy Spirit who go forth in exceeding great army. And that is what is happening. That is what is going to happen in increasing measure. And we're either with this and blessing it and praying for it, or we're resisting the purposes of God and we're taken out of the way.